Three things that I learned in the first week of law school, COVID edition. The first week, we'll start out with orientation. I had no idea that orientation was going to be so jam-packed with activities. When I was an undergrad, I don't think I intended orientation. I think I didn't go. I didn't think it was important, or I don't know why, but I have no recollection of going to orientation as an undergrad. And so I knew that orientation was available to us, and honestly I thought it was optional, and I'm going to school to be a law student, so I should go. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go and pay attention. All of it was online, which was great because I didn't have to actually go to the school except for one event, and I did that online. And so I had my orientation experience as a 1L online, and I thought that it would be very easygoing. Um, it was not, to my surprise. It was jam-packed. We had homework, we had readings, we got cold called. I feel so bad for those students in orientation that got cold called. Because it's rough getting cold called. I mean, there is just no explanation for that impending doom that you feel when you get asked a question. The second thing that I learned in the first week of law school is that if you're a hardcore, intense law person who's like, I've wanted to be an attorney my entire life, I know everything about the law, both my parents are lawyers, maybe you'll know this, but I didn't know this. And shame on me, because I did apply to law school. It took me about a year. Just taking the LSAT and the application process in total took me about a year. I did not think that I would need to know this. But the first week of law school, so this is after orientation, criminal law class, I had read the readings, I had taken notes, I thought I had known everything that there is to know about the readings that we were going to be cold called upon. And let me step back. If you don't know what cold calling is when the teacher asks you questions in class that you're supposed to know from the reading. So you go into the classroom. It's not like in undergrad where they teach you the material. They actually expect you to already know it, and then you can discuss it in class. So cold calling at its simplest is your professor asks you questions about last night's homework. It sounds really easy, but guys, it is, for someone like me, it's not great, okay? So cold calling in criminal law. So I was very, 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 very prepared to cold call. I was like, ask me, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. And then she goes, within the first 5 minutes, she's like, okay, who is this person on the screen? I didn't know who this was. There's no pictures in law books. There's no pictures. Zero. It was a political figure. It was the governor of the state that I am going to law school in, and I hadn't even moved to the state yet, so I didn't know who the governor was, but now I know. The other cold call question was like, hey, let's for example say, hey Andy, name the Supreme Court justices. Yes, you think that's super easy? And I just froze. I was like, thank God this is not me, but I did not know. I was like, I know this used to be one, but I don't know if this still is one. I can't, it was, you would think that I would know. I didn't know, okay? So I made a PowerPoint. I'll share that with you guys in the link below. I made a PowerPoint so that I will never ever not know, and I will promise to know who the Supreme Court justices are for the rest of my life, and I'll also know whether they're liberal or conservative and which president had selected them during their term. And yeah, first day of class, I will never forget that. I will always know the Supreme Court justices and all of them after that cold call, first class. That was not in the reading. The other thing that I learned in the first week of law school is if you like to watch, law shows like I do, SVU, How to Get Away with Murder, Suits, all of those, and you're like, oh, law on TV and real life, it's not the same. Well, I will tell you one thing, that it is the same, and all of my law professors are exactly what you imagine. Exactly what you would imagine as on TV, because they are, I described it, I did not mean to offend anyone, but this is how I did not imagine, I haven't seen anyone speak so eloquently in a very long time. And your law professors, for the most part, they are exactly like what you see on TV. So my first law class, my criminal law professor was a federal prosecutor for the government, and she reminded me of Beyonce, just super fierce, but more justice-y Beyonce. So Miss Justice Beyonce is my law professor and my criminal law professor. And it is that exactly like in the movies and the shows, where just someone who's like this, but also very eloquent, and they also ask you questions that are very thought-provoking. Why did you think that? Why, it's exactly like that. And now, every class I go to, unfortunately, I've kind of gotten like used to how amazing they are. But my first impression of law professors is that, whoa, they're all very super, great credentials, and they also speak so eloquently. They know so much about the law, and they have so much knowledge in their mind, and you just kind of have to learn and soak it up like a sponge as much as you can. So the 7-minute long video is 3 things that I learned in the first week or 2 of law school. Hope you enjoyed.